You want to stay closer? You can hear us better? All right.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if more people are joining in or not. I guess we can go ahead and get started. Thank you all for being here today. Thank you for attending our Tech Talk for the month of August. This month's Tech Talk session will be on Outlook 2010. Chester and I will be the presenters for today. And I'll just real quick introductions. I'm sure you guys know me. My name is Parth Shukla. I'm the manager of IT support team, and Chester Manuel is our senior IT support person for IT support team. Obviously, he's here at Porter. So today we are going to be covering various features of Outlook 2010. Many of us use Outlook daily, right? I mean, to check emails, send out emails, manage our calendar, manage tasks, etc. And there are a lot of options and tips and tricks that you can be using on Outlook, to really help you get the most out of your daily use. The main reason for us to cover the Outlook 2010 Tech Talk this month was we've gotten a lot of feedback from users. We've gotten a lot of tickets from users, and we usually get a lot of feedback from users about how do I archive? How come my calendar is double booking, right? When I book a meeting resource, like I book a conference room, it usually double books it every now and then. Why does that happen, right? So we've gotten a lot of feedbacks like that, and we are like, okay, let's cover those topics in the Outlook 2010 Tech Talk today, so that we can show you guys how to manage your calendar and manage your email properly, so that the double booking doesn't happen, or how to create a new archive and how to manually archive emails, so you don't have to wait for the auto archive to kick in, things like that. We do understand that quite a few of you might not have Windows XP, might still be on Windows XP computers and may not have Windows 7. Windows 7 comes with Office 2010, which includes the Outlook 2010, Word, PowerPoint, and all the Office product of 2010. So we are aggressively working on upgrading everybody onto Windows 7 so that you guys can have the newer Office software loaded on your computer. So bear with us if you do not have Windows 7 yet. We're working towards getting you guys up to date so that you guys have the latest and greatest that's offered by Microsoft. Okay. And last but not least, we are also going to be talking about the future Exchange 2010 migration that will happen some point soon. We haven't gotten a confirmed date from ITS yet, and we are going to be covering topics, and we're also going to be showing you a preview of how the Exchange 2010 web browser looks like, from a web access standpoint. When you go to wmail.stanford.edu to check your emails from a web browser, that will change. There will be a new interface which will give you more options. It's a more better and nicer looking UI when you log into the new Outlook 2010 from a web. So we'll talk about that as well. Okay. If you don't have a handout, please grab one. We actually have an agenda item to begin with, and then we have some helpful instructions on how to create your manual archive, how to create tabs, etc., etc. So that little handout might help you when you get back to your desk, and if you want to quickly create a new archive, you know how to do that right from the handout. Okay. That being said, let's get started. Again, we've gotten a lot of feedback from you, and some of the questions that came up was, how can I manage my inbox better? How can I archive my email manually, and how to set up automatic archive? How can I set my out of office, right? every now and then we go on vacation or we are out sick, we want to set up out of office that so that if somebody sends you an email, Outlook sends an automatic email back to that person saying you're out of office. And then how do I correctly book a resource so that we don't double book a conference room? Today's agenda will be covering Outlook 20 Tech Basic, View, and Navigation. The basic email usage, we're going to be talking about how to create Outlook rules. That comes really handy when you don't want your inbox to get all cluttered with a whole bunch of emails just getting to your inbox, right? You can filter a lot of emails and then organize your inbox in a way where you only see important emails. You don't get spam emails also showing up in your inbox, right? There's a new feature called View Mail as Conversations, which is only available in Outlook 2010. We'll be covering that as well. It's a nice, new little handy feature that I really enjoy using. Using the global address list, we'll show you how to look up anybody at Stanford right from your Outlook. You can look up somebody's contact information right from your Outlook. We'll show you how to archive emails, create new archives, manually archive emails, etc. Automatic replies, which is the out of office. We'll show you how to use tasks. We'll show you how to manage calendars. And last but not least, we'll talk about Exchange 2010 upgrade and preview the newer OWML. Okay? That being said, let me switch to this screen here. When you first open Outlook, you'll see a view like this. Many of you who currently use Outlook 2010 with Windows 7 will have a view like this. On the top, we have the ribbon, is what is called by Microsoft. That has all the features like creating a new email, deleting an email, creating actions, creating meeting invites, etc., etc. All of them at the top. What you see, that ribbon, that's what gives you all the detailed information of what you can do from Outlook. On the left side, we have the navigation pane, which shows you the inbox, sent folders, deleted items folders, and all the subfolders that you might have created, including the archives, right? You scroll down, you'll see a lot of your archives as well. And if you expand that, you might see the folders that you've created within those archives. Here, from the bottom, right in the middle, that's the reading pane. You can move that reading pane to the right, to the bottom, or you can even disable it so you can only see emails. And we'll demo you how to move that around. It's pretty nice. On the right side, we have a to-do bar. It's a nice little snapshot of how your day is going to look like, right? If you have a lot of meetings, instead of clicking on calendar to view your daily agenda, you have a nice little quick calendar window on the right side, and it shows you today's appointments. So you can quickly view, oh, do I have a meeting coming up today? So you can quickly look at that without going into the calendar directly. And at the bottom, you have the tasks. So if you use tasks a lot, or if you flag emails, flagging an email creates a task. So when you flag an email, it actually puts it into a task. So you can quickly scroll through the task as well without going into tasks. And I'll show you how to do that as well. So I'm going to switch to my Outlook. As you can see here, this is how my Outlook looks like when I open it, right? We can really get some, if we move things around and kind of squeeze things a little bit in Outlook, you can get a little bit of better functioning Outlook. If you look at on the left side, you have the mail, contacts, calendars, tasks, notes, and all that. And here on the top, you have the navigation view on the left side, where you can see all the folders. A lot of times, because the mail, calendar, contacts, and all that ribbon is so high up, to get to a calendar or to get to a folder, you have to scroll through your folder list, right? Well, you can get more space by kind of moving this pane down below, right? So you can see all your folders a lot better, right? And you still have the calendar, contacts, tasks, and all that squeezed down below, and you can get to it by just clicking on calendar, going back to mail. But if you have it set like this, it takes up so much space that then you have to scroll a lot to get to a folder, right? So I usually like my pane to be squeezed all the way at the bottom so that I can see more folders. so that I have more view. If I want to drag and drop emails, I can quickly do that by having that more space, right? You can actually also, here you can see that I have a reading pane, which is on the right side, right? I can change that reading pane. If I go to view on the top, move this down below. Here on the view menu, right? If I click on reading pane, I can set it to make the reading pane go at the bottom of the screen, right, like that. Or I can turn the reading pane off completely, so I can just see my emails, right? And I can double click on an email, close it out. Or I can leave the reading pane on and be on the right side, so that I can quickly scroll through the emails and view the emails without double clicking on them to open them, right? So it's a nice little quick view to read emails. I kind of like this view on the right side. You can actually also, by default, let's say if you're when you open Outlook, it's too cluttered, and that reading on the right side, you have that to-do pane that's taking up too much space. You can get rid of it, right? You can minimize that. So if you click on this little arrow on the top of the to-do bar, it actually hides it. So you have more space to view that email, right? And you can click on it again to kind of get that calendar view back, right? If you close it, you have more space. So it's all about having that real estate space so that you can kind of do more, read more, and get more out of your Outlook and your screen, right? Many of you might have two screens, right? When you dock your laptop and your big screen, many of you might want to use two screens side by side, you know, to have your Outlook open and do your web browsing, or have Projector open on one screen, right? Here's another trick that you can do to just have your calendar show up on a separate screen. If you right-click on a calendar and you click on Open in a new window, it actually launches a new window of Outlook and just opens Calendar, right? Now I can move this to a different screen, to the second screen, and I have Calendar on my second screen, and I can leave it on all the time, right? And I have my email on the first screen, so that I can quickly view through my emails, go through my emails, archive them, or whatever I need to do to make things more efficient for myself. So I kind of like this view. I actually have my calendar open on one screen, so that when I'm typing emails, or if I get a calendar reply saying, hey, there's a meeting that you're invited to, I can quickly check my calendar on the right screen and see, oh yeah, I'm open that day. Let me go ahead and accept it. It really helps. Let's talk about basic email usage. The search. Let's talk about that. You can search for emails by just typing any keyword in the search pane on the top. If I just type test, the default search is keyword, right? If I do a test and hit search, it'll find all the emails that has word test in it, not right? Go ahead. Yeah, we can set that up. It's probably, really, you don't have it highlighted? Gotcha. Now, here's something that takes a long time. When you do a search, and if you scroll down to the list, and if you do a try searching again in all mail items, when you click on that, it'll search through your not only inbox folders, but all your archives. Even if you don't do that, that means we have a problem with the indexing of your email. So we'll have to take a look at that. We'll probably have to rebuild indexes. So, John, when you get a chance, can you work on that? Cool. So what we'll do is we'll disable the indexing for your Outlook and then re-enable it. So it will rebuild the search text and all that stuff right in your Outlook. So when you search for something, it'll actually pick it up right away instead of taking a long time to search for it. By the way, I'm not too sure, Laura, if you're on Windows XP or Windows 7, so that's something that I'm going to have John take a look at it. It might be a feature where the highlighting works only on Outlook 2010. We'll have to revisit that. Gotcha. So let's take a look at it, John. Okay. So it's one of those options here. I'm pretty sure if you go to view, it's probably an option here. I can spend time to look for it. Yeah, but it's one of those settings that's hidden somewhere in the options. We'll take a look at it. So going back to my search here, when you do a search, the default criteria for search is that it'll do a search on any keyword on test, right? So it'll pull up all the emails that has the word test in it. If I want to do a search on, let's say, a person's name, right? Let's say if I want to pull up an email on Chester, I can just say, if I scroll down here, oops, that's too fast. I can scroll down here and I can just say, show me all the emails from Chester, not the keyword Chester, right? So it'll show me all the emails from Chester. Right? Or I can also do subject, right? So the default search is keyword, which will give you a lot of options to look at, right? Because it's a keyword, so you can narrow it down to somebody, a person's name, or to a subject. Also, when you do a search, by default, it'll only pull up emails that are in your inbox. If you want to search for emails that are in your archives, in your folders, and all that, you have to scroll all the way at the bottom of the search. And remember to click on all, search all items. A little warning here, when you click on that, it will take time to search for everything that's in all your Outlook, emails, sent, folders, archives, and everything, right? So you want to be careful with that if you want to really do a search for all your emails with that keyword. Scroll down and click on that.
So let's say you want to search just in your sent. I know the use for that.
I would go to the sent folder, right?
Okay,
So
so whatever you're at.
exactly. But a lot of times I'm in an inbox, right? So I just want to quickly do a search, and if it's in a sent folder, then I would go down and maybe hit all items, because it might be in my archive sent folder, and I want to also pull that up. Or I can just go to a folder, and I can search just within that folder, right?
For a folder?
Yeah, so if I go into a folder, right, let's say here, backup and restore. If I have an email, I can click on that, right? Let me see here an example. Yeah, I have a folder here, and I should have a lot of emails in this, because I have a rule set for that.
So I mean, that's like a missing folder. Like I can't find a folder.
Oh yeah, you can find folders too. I would just go to inbox, and I would just search for that folder name that you might have typed. Like if I do an audit and I just do a search, I'll probably have to go down and do this. Try searching all mail items, right? So that you can search for everything. Because it might have happened that you might have accidentally dropped the folder into an archive folder, and it's there. It's just hidden in one of the subfolders. You know, that happens every now and then.
So if you go to the inbox.
Right, and then search from there. It'll find for you. Okay. And if you need help with that, let us know, and we'll come by and help you out. Okay?
I did. You guys wrote down.
Okay. Understand. That's logical, yeah. Now here's something handy. When I type in, let's say if I'm typing an email, right? How are you? You can obviously run spell check, right? So to do the spell check, you have to go to, go to review and do a spelling and grammar check. You have to click on it, right? If you really want to be fast and just quickly want to do a search or a spell check, press F7 on your keyboard. When you press F7, it'll right away start doing the spell check for you, right? It's nice and handy, right? Instead of doing a whole bunch of clicks, it really helps. Now, every now and then, you might get an email address in your, you might get an email from somebody from outside of Stanford, right? Might have sent an email from a Gmail address or a Yahoo address, and you reply to that person from that, using that email. But now this time you want to send an email to that person's work email at stanford.edu. When you compose a new email, when we start typing that person's name, by default the Gmail comes up for some reason, right? How do you get rid of it, right? Because I don't want to send an email to the Gmail email address all the time. If I'm sending work-related emails to Stanford, to my work coworker, I want to send it to @Stanford and not to his or her Gmail address, right? To do that, go ahead and click on New Email and start typing that person's name. For example, let's see here. So I have okay. Now here's an example. I have Jonathan K, and he works in my team at Lbre, and I have another Jonathan, JLee57. I don't know who this person is, right? I can scroll down and I can just hit delete. Now next time when I type Jonathan's name, that's John Barolo, not that, Jonathan Lee, right? Only one name shows up, right? Because I deleted that other email address from the recent contacts list, so it won't show up again. That has happened to me in the past where I would send an email to my coworker, and I was just typing so fast and didn't realize that I actually accidentally sent an email to him on Gmail. And I was waiting for him to reply back, but I didn't get a reply back. So I called him. Did you get my email? He goes, no, I didn't get your email. So let me check my sent folder. And sure enough, I sent an email to his Gmail. Like, oh God, I got to remove his email address from my Outlook so I don't keep sending emails to his Gmail. So I did that, and now I just send emails to his Stanford account. So that little trick really helps. Let's talk about rules. Now, here's something that you guys will find really handy, okay? Because I personally like my inbox to be a place where I get emails that are important to me and not get bogged down with spam emails, with daily reports, or hey, now we have these box updates, right? Who here gets those emails from box, right? Exactly, right? So let's take this opportunity and create a rule so that all my box updates go to a separate folder, so I don't get emails from box in my inbox. Because my inbox is for emails that I get from my coworkers or from my customers only, and not all those updates from spam and all that kind of stuff, right? So I have an email here. Let's go into inbox. I have a box email just for this scenario. Scroll down here. Here's an email from box, right? I get these emails every now and then, daily summary, or if somebody uploaded a file to box, I get an email, even at night. And that just bugs the heck out of me. So I'm going to create a rule for this. I'm going to right click on the box email, and I would say rules, and I would say always move messages from non-reply box, right? And I would create a folder under my email, and I would just say box updates. Okay. Oh, it's already here. I actually created one. Box updates. Hit OK. All right. We'll just select the top folder, and we'll hit OK again. Now, what I've created a new rule, and automatically it'll start finding all the emails from my inbox that are from box, and it'll start moving them to box. And any future emails that I receive from box will automatically go into box folder. And now my inbox is like really for those important emails, right? And sure enough, if I ever want to look at those box updates, I can always go to the box folder, right? I'm going to cancel this out because I have a lot of box updates. I'm going to cancel this out. If I scroll up, box updates. So here's another thing I want to show you before I click into it. Now that I have a rule for box and I get a new email, it'll automatically put it into box folder, right? But it'll mark the folder as unread, right? Because I have an email there that is not read, right? So I would click into the box folder, and now I can just see that date for box. So I've created a rule for box, and all my emails go into the box folder. Phew, that really helps, because I have a lot of emails from box, and it really doesn't help when you're trying to find that particular email. You have to scroll through the box emails. Sorry? When you get an email, simply right-click on it and go to Rules, and you can say Always Move. So I forward my voicemails to my email. So I can also set a rule for that whenever somebody leaves me a message and I get an email, send it to my voicemail folder. I can do that by just going into Rules and Always Move folders from, and I can create a new folder called voicemail. Hit OK, and now I have a rule in place for all my voicemail emails, right? Any questions? Yes.
So I think it would be helpful to also maybe send around instructions on how to turn off all of the auto messages on box.
Sure.
Solve the problem.
Gotcha.
Rather than here.
Sure.
I mean, it's illustrated at different points.
Sure. We can also.
I think a lot of people are getting turned off by box first day they're using it because of all the auto messages.
Gotcha. Yeah. I mean, there is a setting that's set by default, right?
Yeah.
The updates and all that stuff. We can turn them off, by going into it. But we'll send out an instruction for that, and then show users how to do that. Thanks. Here's a new little feature from Outlook 2010. Here's a scenario. You send out an email to somebody, right? That person replies back. You send more email updates using that same email. That person replies back again. So you have like 2 emails in your inbox and 2 in your send folder, right? So if you have like 10 conversations, you have like 10 emails that you have to scroll down and get to the first one if you want to, right? Or if you want to pull up a sent email that you had sent to that person, you have to go to send folder and pull up that email from there, right? Outlook 2010 has a nice feature called Conversation View. Once you enable that feature, it actually groups all those email messages as one thread, and it keeps it together, including the emails that you've sent. So now you can click on that conversation, and boom, it shows you all the emails that you received from that person, all the emails that you send out. In like one conversation, you can click on that email and get to any email from there. So let me show you how to do that. On the top, if you go to View, there's a Show as Conversation checkbox. If you click on that, it'll ask you, do you want to turn the conversation view for all folders or just for this folder? For this demo, I'm going to just set it to this folder, right? Let's see how it looks. Okay, so it's done. Now, you might see a little arrow here next to the email. See that? A little arrow next to this emails. So if I click on that, it actually shows me the emails that went back and forth for that email conversation, right? So here's an example, Projecto. I have like 6 emails that we went back and forth and talked about, right? Tablet, same thing, ITTSG, right? I have a big fix. I have like 5, 6 different scenarios. Oh, by the way, I replied to an email too, and it also showed under your conversation view, right? It tells me that this email is in your send folder, but it actually shows in my inbox because I have the conversation view enabled. Does that make sense, right? It actually groups them by subject. So if somebody replies back to that email and changes the subject, it breaks the conversation view, right? So you have to make sure that the thread stays the same by keeping the subject as is, right? So this really helps because if I disable this, now I have like, how many, 10 emails that I have to scroll down and get to them, right? Because I have an email from Tuesday, I have an email from today, I have some emails from this afternoon. Let's say if I had an email like from last month, I had to like scroll down all the way until I get to the last month email, right? The conversation view keeps it all together. Really nice feature, I love it. Yeah. Exactly. If you go to send, you can see your sent email from there. This is just more like a view, right? It just kind of keeps it together, so you don't have to go to send. And it actually gives you a timeline that I got a reply from Marcelo, then I sent an email, then Marcelo replied back. Oh, by the way, then Brian emailed as well. So it's like a nice conversation view for that email thread, you know, and it all keeps it together. And by the way, you can double click on any email and get to it right from there, right? Oh, by the way, you can also move an email to another folder from that thread, and it'll bookmark that email, right? For example, if I, let's say, move this email to Big Fix folder, watch what happens. Now it bookmarked it that, hey, this email, by the way, it's not going to be in your inbox. It's in your conversation, but it's in the Big Fix folder, right? But it tells me there, which is nice. Does that make sense? Any questions there, guys? Okay, great. Let's move on to the global address list. Remember I was telling you guys you can find anybody who works at Stanford right from your Outlook? You can do that by going into the home and then clicking on address book, right? Right on the top, all the way on the top right corner. If you click on that, it brings up this nice little box where you can type anybody's name, right? So I can just type, oh, by the way, it's my last name. So Manuel Chester. Here we go. I found Chester, his location, his phone number, right? Box, Michael. Sure enough. Oh, and by the way, I can actually, let's say, pick somebody up. Holly. That's her phone number. Now I can add Holly to my contacts. So she shows up in my contacts on my Outlook and shows up on my phone, right? So I'm going to right click on it and I would say add to contacts, right? And now I can just save and close. Or before doing that, I can add more information if I want to about Holly, her personal email address or her work phone, her cell phone, etc., etc. I can close it. Now that will be saved in my contacts of my Outlook, right? This here is more like a global address list. Everybody who works at Stanford is in this directory. Any questions?
There's no way to ever look it up by first name.
Search by, maybe you can do advanced find. Yeah, advanced find. Oh, for me. All right, there we go. How about we look for John? A lot of Jonathans there. Laura. Yep, same thing. So yeah, you can do advanced search, but by default it's my last name first, right? Okay. All right, great. All right, guys. So I'm gonna have Chester come over and present the rest of the topics from here on.
All right, great. Hopefully you guys are getting a lot of information. I'll be covering archiving next. So I'm going to show you a way where you can continue to use Outlook all the time and you won't get that email saying, oh, your mailbox is full, or someone's going to have to walk to your cube and say, hey, your inbox is full, so I can't send you an email. So the way to do that is to set up an archive. And in Outlook 2010, there is a new way where you can visually see how big your inbox is, how much space you have left, and that's by going to the File tab here. And you'll see here Mailbox on Cleanup Tools. Under Mailbox Cleanup, you'll see a visual representation of your inbox. And it shows you here how big your inbox is and how much you have left free. So try that out later. You can see how yours is. Some people have bigger inboxes, but this is a good way to tell if it's time for you to do archive. So the purpose of archiving is it'll help you keep your inbox clean and also keep you be able to use your Outlook all the time, and it'll just help manage your mail much better. There's two ways to create archives. There's an auto archive, which is something that you just want to just set it and just let it run in the background where you don't have to interfere with like moving things around. It'll just run. You can set that to run every 2 weeks, and I'll show you how to do that. And the other way is a manual archive. Usually people with a lot of projects, they have archives. They have projects that are going on for years. You know, the auto archive, it archives based on the date of the email. So let's say you want to archive emails older than 6 months. Everything older than 6 months is going to get archived. But let's say you have a project that's a 5-year project. You don't want your emails that are like, 2 years old being archived. So you want to use the manual archiving. So to set, let's create a new archive, and you can have multiple archives. You can have one archive, you can have 10 archives. Some people have more than one, and the reason is we really suggest that you have no more than 4 to 6 gigs for your archive. Once you start once your archives start getting bigger, you start to get problems. You'll have like corruption problems with your archives, and then we'll need to come and do repairs. It's going to take a really long time. So we tell people to just keep it down, and once you start getting over, create another archive, and then start moving more of your other items in there. So let's create a new archive. We'll go here to File tab under Account Settings. You click on Account Settings, and click the other account settings here. Under the Data Files tab, we can create a new archive. So click on Add here, and it'll prompt you a new data file. There's 2 types. What we want to create is just an Outlook data file. Don't worry about this iCloud. That's not what we want. We just want an Outlook data file. And then we'll click OK. And all our archives are stored on the local hard drive, and we never want to store it on the network because Microsoft suggests, always store it on local. If you store it on a network, you'll get those problems too, where you'll get corruptions because sometimes the network's slow and it's not able to read and write fast enough, and you'll have some data problems. So.
In other words, those projects in your archive create onto the S drive. That creates a corruption problem. Microsoft recommends not to save any data above on network location, N drive, E drive, or on-site, N drive, those archives. They say that save to a local computer, and then we have software called transfer and the operator.
Okay. Now we want to select the D drive here, and under D drive there's a mail archive folder. And we'll create the archive in here. So we'll just create it, and I'll name it New Archive. Hit OK, and now it's set right here. Now I have that new archive. Okay, so now a new archive. Now let's create an automatic archive. So to create an automatic archive, we'll go to File, Options, and under Advanced, there's the Auto Archive heading here. We'll click on Auto Archive Settings. Now here's the Auto Archive pop-up, and I'll go through each item. Most important items is this should be checked, and it runs every 2 weeks. But let's say you have a lot of email, or you get email a lot, and if you run this like longer, it just means that every 2 weeks you're going to have a long time for it to run. So if you have a lot of emails that you have to archive all the time, I would put this to like 7. That way, it doesn't take up a lot of time, because it'll stop you from using Outlook because it's running. It has to go get all those emails. Okay, and you can also set it to prompt you. Sometimes if you do have auto archive running, you'll see a window that says, hey, it's time to archive. Do you want me to run now? So that's what the prompt is. This delete expired items, this should never be checked. What this will do is it will delete folders and emails. So in Outlook, there's expirations for any emails or folders that haven't been touched or read or edited, and that's by default it's like 6 months. So you never want this checked. You just want it to archive and not delete. Okay? Yes.
The default location for your Outlook file is where?
It should be on your D drive under Mail Archive folder. But if it's just, if it's created, like if you've never created it, it'll create it under your user folder under Outlook files. So it'll be like C, Z Posner Outlook files.
So the first step is that everybody in our office should have an archive folder on the D drive.
Yeah.
Set up some sort of rule that automatically puts it there.
Yeah.
When you create a new archive, and you set other archive,
Yeah.
that's your inbox now knows that, okay.
Not doing that interim step of putting it in the local folder set up your user, but put it directly in the file.
Exactly.
On the D drive.
And then PSD file forms are your email. It has all the numbers. So just take PSD files and how you can understand. It's just a location to the drive. When you create a folder within archives, it will create those folders in your root kit. Under that one kit. And then when you set up auto archive, it will take your email from the main inbox and will move it to the Z drive.
And that's getting back to periodically.
Every half an hour by crash.
Okay, great. Good question. Okay, so now here it says I want to clean out items older than 6 months. So this is where I would like set it so it'll let the auto archive know that anything that's older than 6 months I want to archive. If you feel that that's too recent for you, or like you still want to keep more emails, you can change it to like 3 months, or 7 months or something. But let's say you want to archive more, you can archive more. I would set it to like 3 months. So, but this run auto archive every whatever days, and the clean out older items, those are like the most important that you can set to whatever your preference is, and then we just hit OK, and that will run now all the time. Let's say you want to archive like today. Let's say next week you're not going to be in the office and your archive is supposed to run next week, but your computer is going to be you're not going to be around, but you want to run the archive right now. Like you're out of space, you want to run it. So you just have to go to File, Info, and Cleanup Tools, and hit Archive. And you can select here to archive according to your auto archive settings. Hit OK, and it'll just archive it the way we just set it right now. Or you can also say here, run the archive from the inbox, anything older than this date, and hit OK, and then it'll archive everything into this archive here. All right. Are there any questions with that? Nope. Okay. So we'll move on. Okay, next thing I'll cover is out of office, which is also known as automatic replies in Outlook. Now, automatic replies are very useful. Let's say you're going on vacation and you want to let people know that you're going to be gone, that you're not just ignoring them, right? The most important thing to set here is you want to enable this by sending automatic emails, and you want to make sure this only sent during this time range is set. And this is very helpful. After when you come back from vacation, you're still in vacation mode, and you're not really. You want to get back in the swing of things. If you don't have this checked, like your inbox is still going to send out of office messages even though you're back at work. So you want to set this before you leave, so that way, you know, when you are back at work, it's going to turn off the automatic messages. Okay, and then you can just set the date here and then the time. And this tab here inside my organization, this will be the message you want to send to people within Stanford, within whoever has a Stanford email address. This is the message that they will be getting. Anyone outside, you can have a different message. Anyone outside of Stanford. Okay, and then to set it, just make sure the send automatic replies is on. This is checked according to when you're going to be on vacation or out of the office.
The rules have it, the option where you only send one, instead of sending an auto reply every time somebody emails you when you're on way. You need to have that somewhere.
Yeah.
So when it's somebody says you have that
Yeah.
that it'll only have
You should only send it once.
one.
Yeah.
Okay.
For that day,
Or that day,
for that one
That's
day.
for the week.
so here's how it works. Let's say I'm gone for a week, right?
Yeah.
I'm gone from next week till Friday. I'll put it in my out of office on Friday, right? And I'll be gone from Saturday all the way to like next Friday. Once I set it up, anybody who sends me an email, during that time period, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, whatever, that person will get a response back right away. Right? And then that's it. When you send me an email again, I will send you an email within 3 hours.
Within that week, that whole week.
Within that whole week, you will only get one email. Because
Yeah, it used to be different.
it used to be different, right?
It used to send it to you every time.
Yeah.
And the problem with that is that, you only want to know that Spark is out one.
Yeah.
If you keep sending an email, you keep getting the email back, you'll get your inbox again.
My choice.
You have to be deleted. Come on. So that's how it is. By default, that's only send one email out. Or email.
All right, great. Okay, so that covers the automatic replies. Now, how many of you use tasks for your Outlook? Just one? Two? Okay, great. I'll show you how to use tasks, and tasks will help you manage your emails, and you can use it to manage your time, your daily things you need to do. And it's easy to create a task from your email. So this flag right here, you could just click on it, and what this will do is we'll create this email as a task that will be due today. So by default, if I click on this, it'll be due today. And that will show up here also in the task pane. So if I click on this one, deployment spreadsheet, it'll show up here. So now it's a task. It'll help remind me, that, hey, there's something I need to do. And you can hover over it, and it tells you when it's due, when it's the start date and due date. You can see right here. What you can also do is have it be due tomorrow or next week, this week or next week, or any date. Right here by hitting custom, you can change the date when you want it to be due, and also set reminders for yourself. Just like a calendar item to send you a reminder that, hey, this thing's due coming up, you can have it send you a reminder, and we just hit OK for that. And when we go to the calendar, a list of tasks also appear here at the bottom. So you'll see here at tasks, there's 82 tasks. Click on this arrow here, and it'll expand it. And if you scroll down, that one I just flagged is here somewhere. Let's see. Oh, I think I unflagged it. Yeah. Oh, here. Cool. Okay. Oh, I set this for this week. Yeah. Okay, cool. Okay, now in the calendar view, when you have a task, if you're done, here it is. It's right here, the one I set. If you're done with this task, what you want to do is, you don't want to delete this, or else you'll delete the email. So if you want to just mark yourself that you finished it, just right-click on it and hit follow-up and hit clear flag. and now it's gone. But it's still in the mail, still here. Okay. So that's a basic thing you can do with tasks. You can also create categories here also to help you organize like what you want to do with that email that you have, and then you can rename these categories. Let's say the blue category, to like projects and things like that. So anything you mark as blue will be under your project. There you go. Great. Okay, so we'll cover calendars next, and I'll show you how to not get double bookings. We'll show it to properly create meetings for people. So in Outlook, conference rooms and cars are known as resources. So in Outlook, we manage resources. And I'll show you how to create a meeting properly and help you save time so you can create meetings like really fast. So what we utilize here is there's calendar groups. I don't know if you used that before, but here in calendar groups, I can create groups for people. Let's say my group, and I'll just put that part. Oops, and we'll show up. Oh, there it goes. Cool. So now I create a calendar group, and it shows here on the left side. So now I don't have to keep on opening the calendar and going to open shared calendar and then looking up, people's names to see if they're free. It'll always be here now, and I can just click on whichever name that I want to see their calendar and see if they have free time for me to meet with them. So to create a meeting properly and book a conference room, what I want to do is you want to create the meeting from your calendar. Creating meetings from the resource just causes problems. It causes double bookings, or if someone can't, or they double book it. So we want to create it from your calendar all the time. So you can just double click here on your calendar when you want, and then it'll create to the new untitled appointment window, and you just specify the time here, and then we want to find out who we want to invite. So let's click on invite attendees, click on the 2, and then just pick people's names here, right? And then we'll hit required. So for conference rooms, all Porter conference rooms are LBRE 3160. So that's for conference rooms and cars. And we want those to be under resources. So they're all resources, so they should be under resources. And then we'll hit OK. Another good way to find out, to double check the meeting or their availability times, is click on the scheduling assistant, and then you'll get like an overview of everyone that you're inviting here and what times they're free or not free. Okay. Which one? Oh yeah. Another great thing that we've added here is with the conference rooms. If you see here under title, we have descriptions of how big the rooms are, like how many people they can hold. Let's say for this Porter, or let's say the Cypress, LBRE 3160 Cypress. This room can hold 8 people. It has polycoms in it, and then there's a whiteboard that's medium sized. So we added that just recently. It'll help you guys with finding out which room is appropriate for a meeting that you need to set. Yeah. Yeah, so this is good info. So then now that's good, and then we just send it. Oh, we gotta make sure the subject. Okay. All right, so now that will book. Let's wait for it. Okay, so now it's booked, and now it shows up here, and it shows up here. Yes.
When you do the micro people, do they have to grant you permission to speak or can you just add in?
I believe everyone should be open. Yeah.
You can add anybody to the group. Whether or not what you can see, is what you will be able to see, though, somebody has not given permission to that. Right? But if I share my calendar with you and I say, I want to view all my details, and when you click on my calendar, you'll see my calendar there. Just like how Chester just clicked on John's calendar and I see his calendar. If you try to open my calendar, you'll probably just see the So the times that are blocked and this tech talk and all that, you'll just see if that's it.
Yeah, and then if you notice here, Parth organized his by groups. He has conference rooms for Von Air, Porter, all the cars. So if he wants to book a meeting like really fast and see what's available, you can just click on this checkbox here. It'll list all the conference rooms here, and it can tell which is free, which is not. That's a good feature to make use of. Okay, and then to properly delete the meeting, we should be deleting it from the calendar, from your own calendar, not from the resource calendar. And that's pretty easy to do. Just click on the meeting and then just hit cancel meeting, and it'll send cancellation notice. And now the meeting's canceled.
The stuff that Chester just showed is very important because a lot of times what happens, I'm going to go close to my laptop so that we can record the voice. If you just delete the calendar and not do anything else, it'll just delete the calendar events from your calendar only. But let's say if you book the resource from your calendar and you delete it without sending the cancellation, it'll keep the conference room still booked, right? So you think that you've canceled the meeting, the calendar is still booked for the resource for a conference room, and nobody's there in the conference room, and it's not getting used, right? So you want to make sure we open the calendar that you've used to create the calendar entry from, and then you want to cancel the meeting, and then you want to send the cancellation. When you do the send cancellation, it will send a trigger to the calendar conference room calendar, and we'll remove the calendar entry from there, so somebody else can book it for that time. Does that make sense? Right? Okay.
Like if you have a recurring meeting and then you delete, you're canceling it. You shouldn't drop off. We should stay there, so sometimes it's gone, and I don't know, it's just I don't think it's
Right. So when you cancel a meeting, by default, it just deletes it, meaning it gets rid of it from your calendar view, so that you don't. If you're looking at a calendar, you don't get confused that, hey, by the way, I have this block of time that's booked. But if you have a whole bunch of side-by-side calendars open, a lot of times it doesn't show the text, right? So you might think that your calendar time is booked, but it's canceled, right? That's why when you cancel it, it deletes it from the calendar. And by the way, it actually puts that calendar item that you deleted in your deleted folder. So if you ever want to go back and find the calendar that you deleted from your calendar, go to the deleted folder, and it'll show all the deleted calendar items there. You can archive if you want. Right.
So what happens when you go into a meeting that's already set and you want to change the time or the location? It happens I use 5 minutes for it. Just because I made a change, can't send out a cancellation to everybody. And so people think it canceled, and then when I resend what I just revised, it goes back on their calendar, so people see the cancellation before they.
So the way it works is that, let's say if I book a time for today, right, from 4 to 5, and I send an invite to a couple of people in my team, they'll get an email saying, hey, there's a meeting invite. They accept it. So now it's on their calendar. I decide, let's move that calendar entry for tomorrow morning from 8 to 9. When I go in there and open my calendar, change the time, I have to remember to send update. If I don't do that, it'll only change the calendar on my calendar view and it won't send an update to this guy. So this guy's still think that we are meeting at 4 today, and I'm thinking, hey, I just changed the calendar entry. So here's the thing too, right? So when you there are two ways of proposing times, right? You can actually compose a new meeting invite for 4 to 5 today, send an invite to everybody, but they didn't accept it. Let's say they're still in a meeting, they didn't accept it. During that time, you quickly went back and you updated the meeting to the next day. They'll get a second email saying, hey, this is the more recent change to the meeting. So they want to make sure they accept that, right? If they don't accept that, then it'll create conflicts.
Yeah.
And exactly. And here's another example, if you may, Chester. If you go into your email, every now and then, if I can find a calendar entry for myself. For example, this one, right? Now this is, if I click on it, I've already accepted it, right? I've already accepted it. It's just an information that's given to me, right? If I click on this, actually, let me just do this. So if I click on, like, this is the first invite I received. I didn't accept it right away. I got another update for that same meeting. So if I click on the first one and I click on not current, it'll tell me that it's out of date, you want to delete it, right? You don't want to do that. You always want to accept the more recent one that you received, and you want to accept that so it shows up correctly in your calendar, right? There is another way to work with the calendar. I send an invite to Chester. That time doesn't work for him. He'll decline and he'll propose a new time. So what will happen, it'll delete the calendar from his view, it'll delete the calendar item from my view, and it'll send a new calendar invite from Chester saying, Chester invited you to a new meeting with a new time. That I have to accept that, right?
All right. Cool. So let me just we'll finish up with some new features for Exchange 2010. And Exchange 2010, you will not really see it. It's the server, the mail server. And right now we're on Exchange 2007. Oh. Explorer. Oh, okay, cool. Okay, cool. So yeah, you won't see it because it's running in the background, and basically it's our mail server. So the new Exchange 2010, there's new features, that's new benefits for us. There's a new Outlook web app. This is the yellow one. The current one is blue, and basically what it says, you can check your email on the internet, right? But it's much more feature rich. It basically, you get a lot more functionality out of it. It looks very similar to the desktop client. So now here, like, calendars are enabled now. So I can see other people's calendars, not just the current one. If you log in right now at your desk, you only see your calendar. With this new Outlook server, Exchange Server 2010, and using the web client, the web app, you can see the calendars, and then there's just a lot more you can do with it.
Yes.
Yeah, it'll be really small. Probably a laptop would be better. But as long as you have internet connection, like you can access your calendar.
You can still do it from your phone browser. Just
Yeah.
The screen is too small.
Yeah, but this is like one feature that people have been asking for, and it's available with this new one. We don't know exactly when they will be upgrading into Exchange 2010, but it should be real soon. They're just finishing up some other, working out some minor issues with it, but it's really good. Another benefit that's coming with Exchange 2010 is the calendar repair agent. So the calendar repair agent, what it does is like it fixes problems with meetings you send out to people. Let's say I create a meeting and then I invite everyone, and let's say a few people that calendar meeting dropped off their calendar. Well, the calendar repair agent will check my invitation, and if the other person didn't do it intentionally, it'll go ahead and add it back to their calendar. That way people are not missing meetings. It just finds out, like, it checks the invitee's calendar, and then it checks their logs and stuff, and then sees if this really did it or not, or if it was something. Yeah. Yeah. If they deleted it, then it won't add it back. But if it just dropped off for no reason, then it'll put it back on their calendar. Yeah.
It's a nice feature. In the past we had users saying, that I had a meeting, it got dropped off of my calendar for some reason, and there were conflicts with the iPhone. If you accept a meeting on your iPhone, it won't sync it back to Outlook, right? So and that's where the problems were happening, right? Because we were accepting calendar meetings from the iPhone or declining meetings, and it won't sync back to Outlook. So with the new Exchange upgrade, it has this calendar agent that it'll check the sender's calendar invite, and it'll see if that person hasn't declined the meeting, by with that person's intention, it'll actually go back and put it back there because it knows that it's not done. It probably happened from some other option like phone or something like that. So it got dropped off, and it'll put it back over there, which is really nice.
Yeah. Okay, well, we appreciate you guys coming, and hopefully you learned a bunch of things. If there's any more questions, we're more than happy to help you, with archiving or anything else that we covered today, because we did cover a lot. So.
Yeah,
All right.
if you have any questions, please show. Thank you all.